Derek, what excites you about seeing Nate Danielson in the preseason this year?
Hockey sense, his feel for the game, puck support, game management. Really nice player. I think still understanding some things in the game. He seems to have a little more puck play issues in camp this year than he even did last year, and I just think that's part of the natural development. But obviously, there's a lot of upside. Seems to be a gamer. I'm excited about seeing him in games. Last year in camp, he had an okay camp, but then he really started to flourish when the games came around. It doesn't surprise me, the way he thinks the game. So still early in camp. We'll be excited to get him in here soon.
When a player comes in with those kind of assets, how much more easy is it to coach someone like that?
Yeah, easy's probably a good way to put it. Like maybe it's a little stretch on the word easy, but it helps because a lot of times when you have young players, you're teaching the game a little bit, the B game, the hockey sense, the feel, managing a game, turning pucks over, habits maybe. And he seems to already instinctively have some of that B game, so that's exciting.
What stood out last night for you?
Good or compete. I mean, we're game 1 of 8 in the exhibition games, and we're here diving and blocking shots in the third period to win a game. I appreciated that from the group. Still some things we got to clean up. Natural this time of year, we give some easy offense, some odd mans. Young guys played very well. Special teams, obviously we won the special teams battle into the night. So a lot of positives, but certainly a work in progress.
Just for Husso, just to get those 2 periods, and it's got to be a good kind of just a confidence.
Really good, really good.
How healthy
he needs reps. He needs game reps, and he was really sharp in the first. It's a good sign when they've got a few good looks just on the outside of that A scoring chance, and he made him look easy with tracking into his hands. Obviously the second period, probably showed a little of that rust. Obviously, I think that's goals he'll start to eliminate going forward with some repetition, but yeah, some positives for sure.
What's your rotation in that tomorrow?
Tomorrow is going to be Alex Lying for 2, and then Talbot will play the third.
And is everyone who has been skating available, or?
Yes.
What do you think Lyon got out of last season, Derek? I mean, you had to give him
Competition, compete, confidence. I think maybe even a little mental toughness. Never getting minutes like this at this level, maybe going past a threshold for him. He gets that look to him where he looks very confident. And you can almost read him. You can see he lost a little of that swagger towards the end, maybe just being a little bit tired. And then I had the opportunity to have him at Worlds. He had that look going again. And unfortunately, sustained a hand injury there. But I think the biggest thing was confidence. Not only that he believes he can play in this league, he belongs in this league, but he can win in this league, which he did for us last year.
Derek Marco is one of those young guys I imagine that you're alluding to. What did he show you last night?
Compete, confidence, leaned on him a lot, that line. That was my purpose. I wanted to see them in a lot of situations. I kept putting them out there. Probably even skipped over some lines to give him some opportunities last night, and I thought he handled himself pretty well. Again, he looks very confident, high compete. I like the fact player that young had a really positive game last night, showed up for practice today and worked hard. It's a good sign.
There's not that many young guys that kind of project as day one penalty killers in the NHL, but he seems like he might have that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. A lot of pride in it. Wants those minutes. So, kind of what Helene alluded to with Danielson. There's some two-way game already part of his DNA, which is exciting.
I don't want to lead you too much here, but you coach Sorelli, and I think people have hope of him being that kind of player. I know that's a big name for
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I think Danielson, if either of those two could peak out at that caliber of player with just what he brings to the team, that's winning hockey. Details have it's hard to play against. Just those type of players where at the end of the game the other team notices and it's just hard to play against. So yeah, that'd be a great ceiling.
Did Kane take a maintenance day today, or
Who's that?
Kane?
Oh no, Kane was out there. He's frying around, man. No, he was leading the board to board. He had a great practice today. Obviously, the second day part we had some special teams. We kind of put that unit we had in Traverse City together. Yeah, no, he's had great energy. He was good today.
With Husso in regards to the game speed, I'm curious, how much can you do away from the games to get him used to the pace of NHL play, or are you just at the whims of getting him enough starts?
It's a good question. It's hard to do. Obviously, you can see a ton of goalie ice before, a ton of goal ice after. You can replicate some things, but you still need that game action, real game. Angles, situations, reads just come up a little bit different. And I think there's some mental toughness to it. Like 2 periods was a good look for him last night, but obviously his first period looked a lot sharper than his second period, so he just can replicate, but he needs game reps.
What have you seen from Jacob Brushlowski throughout camp?
That's a great question because he caught my eye in the rookie games. Don't know a whole lot about him. Obviously, I saw the signing. Did a little research on him, like anyone else. Once we saw him, the resources we have today. Watch some shifts and some clips, and a lot more compete, two-way type game than I had anticipated, which is good. And he's had a good camp. He's noticeable. Obviously, a skill, but his compete has been noticeable too.
You kind of expect to see, what kind of rosters do you expect to see from Chicago?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's just, we're in a situation where obviously I think we traveled a pretty good roster last night. I just think people getting different points in their situation where, you're kind of forced to split teams up, and it's just who knows where people are in their process. I foresee us fielding some pretty deep teams throughout the entire camp. Probably also credit to our added depth. Obviously, you saw we kind of had 2 NHL lines and 2 younger type lines last night, but those younger type lines showed very well.
It takes some balancing, right? Because play 2 in a row, then 2 in a row next week.
Yeah,
3
it's
in a
going to
row,
be it's going to be a tough balance. It's a good balance, but it's going to be a tough balance. Just the way the schedule played out. It's just sometimes you can't control it. We lost a day in there, venues, who you're playing. Obviously, not ideal to play 5 and 6 because it affects some of the things you're trying to accomplish. Maybe some continuity in line, some special teams, getting young players looks, but we got plenty of players to make it work.
How do those opposing lineups impact your ability to contextualize what you're seeing from your own group?
It's a good question because you pull one guy out of it, and it's an unbelievable the way it trickles the whole thing. And obviously, management wants to see guys, and we have agendas. There's a lot that goes into it. So it's a day-to-day, literally sometimes minute-to-minute matrix and process of trying to get what you want out of that schedule. But I think I like the luxury. Coming into this, 2-3 years ago when I took over here, I thought 8 was excessive coming from Tampa, where we would play anywhere between 4 or 5. But I have found it extremely beneficial, especially with implementing some of our young guys into our system.
Have you decided if Danielson will play tomorrow?
I've got 7. I just looked at the whole thing. I honestly can't tell you. Tomorrow morning I'll be able to tell you. I would expect through the rotation. But again, we have the back-to-back, which is unique. And we don't want to play guys back-to-back. So they all look alike, especially after a late night, early morning. They all look alike. I think I had a 4-hour sleep snap early in practice today, which I think I'm sure the guys understand and appreciate. So, yeah, but he'll get plenty of time here.
You're in touch with your old mates in Tampa. That's some pretty bad weather headed there.
Yeah, some bad weather. Experience that seems like that time of year. Obviously dealt with that when we were there.
With your preseason lineups, I guess what we were just talking about raises the question, like, what are your priorities in constructing those lineups? What are you trying to get out of
There's
it?
a lot that goes into it. One is obviously viewings. You want to get looks on guys. You want to give the management team looks on guys. But you're also trying to accomplish some continuity with some guys. You're trying to accomplish some special team looks. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not perfect, but again, kind of maybe alluding to my point earlier, I have found the 8 games to be a luxury with that.
You kind of, Derek, you kind of alluded to it. I mean, World Championships 2 times. I don't think we've asked you yet. I mean, probably obviously knew Johnny pretty well.
Yeah.
How tough was that?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's knew Johnny a little bit. We both in USHL together. It's sobering. Just you get to know the kid. He was a remarkable, amazing kid. And then the relationships, kind of that core group of guys, kind of wanted to be at World Championships this year with the 4 nations, with the international play, and Johnny's always been a never say no. Then you get to meet him, and that's a tough one. It's just a little thing. They just sent me a jersey and the plaque of our team, and it was tough to look at. So obviously prayers to the family, and I know not to get off, but what Torch did with the dad, this is why he's one of the classier guys in the league. So it's a tough one.
Great.